Welcome to the CQC video training series. This is a spot topic video on interface pop-ups. In this video, we're going to talk about pop-up templates. And pop-ups are essentially equivalent to the concept of a dialog box in Windows, which is something you would have definitely seen. I'm assuming here that you are familiar with Windows if you're using this product. And they are just smaller windows that pop up over the main window, and they get information from the user or show information to the user. And an important consideration about them usually is that they are what is called modal, which means that you can't interact with the application underneath it until you have closed that dialog box. And pop-ups are very similar, and they provide the same sort of function in your own user interfaces that you create for CQC, and we will demonstrate that here. And another thing that they are very good at is being able to create reusable user interfaces or reusable components that you can use in multiple user interfaces, and we will demonstrate that as well. So what I have done here is created a subscope here called Popups, and beneath that I've created a base template which represents what would be the main template in a normal system. In our case it's just an empty one, but this is the main primary template. And I've also created another one called show message. So the base template is here, it's kind of normal sized, and the show message one is much smaller. And this is going to be our pop-up. And the scenario that we're going to emulate here is very similar to, say, the OK dialog box in Windows, where you just want to show the user a message and they can close it once they've seen what you want to tell them. And of course, you would not want to do a separate template for every message that you wanted to show to the user. So you very much want to have something reusable, and we're going to demonstrate how to do that. So what we first need is something to show a message text to the user, and we're just going to use a static text widget for that. So I'm just going to do new, and this is off your screen here, but new textual, and then I'm selecting static text. So this is just a static text widget, very basic. And I'll give it most of the space with a nice margin around it. And we need to give this an ID because we're going to target it to load text into it. So I'll call it message text. And we also need to center that. So let's go down here to horizontal justification and center it. And let's size it up a bit too. I'm just using the right arrow here to bump it up. And so now we have some place to display some text. And we also need to be able to close this dialog. So I'm just going to put a button here. So I'm right clicking, new buttons, and I'm just selecting command button, just a basic command button, which I will center here underneath it. So let's set the action for this and the text. So for the text, let's just say OK, which is the usual thing. And for the action, what we want to do is just have it close the dialog or have it close the pop-up. So that's very easy. And for all of these sorts of commands where you're doing something related to interface navigation, the interface viewer target is almost always what you're going to use. And we just want to use the exit command, which just exits out of the pop-up. We can pass back a result, but it's useless in this case because the user isn't telling us anything. It's just he's just closing the pop-up once he's read the message. And now, finally, we need a way to get the text into this static text widget. And what's going to happen is we're going to pass in the text to display. So that means that every time you invoke this pop-up, you can pass in different text, which makes it reusable, which is very nice. So in order to do that, we need to run something when this template loads. And that's very easily doable by selecting the template and going to its action settings. And in this case, what we want to do is to target our static text widget. So command, and then since we gave it an ID, it shows up as a target. And let's just call set text. And the way we're going to get to the text that we passed in is that, as with, you might have seen previously with actions, when you invoke things like global actions, you can pass in parameters, and within the action, those values are available as action parameters. And the same applies to pop-ups. So we can see the passed in values as action parameters. And we're only going to pass in one. So I'm just going to select action parameter 1. And that just generates a token that will expand to the actual value of the first parameter that gets passed in. All right, so let's save that. And now on our base template, all we need to do is just create a button that will invoke it. So I'm doing new buttons, and again, this command button. And I won't bother to change the text in this case. And we want to go to his actions. And on click, we want to just invoke our pop-up. So command, and again, interface viewer target is typically what you're going to use for this sort of thing. And the command is invoke pop-up. And we want to select the template name for the template we want to pop up. In that case, it's just spot topics, the place where we were just creating these things. And we want to select show message. And one very useful trick here is that we can make this a relative path. So if I get rid of that, notice both of these templates are in this same scope, the user spot topics pop-ups. So if I get rid of that and just replace it with a dot, that means the current directory or the current scope of the parent template. So this makes them relative. So if we were to copy all of these somewhere else, then everything would still work, because this is saying just look in the same directory as my parent or of the template that is invoking this command and find something called show message. The parameters are a set of quoted values. In our case, we just need one, which is the message to display. So I'll just do this is the test message to display in our pop-up example. And that's all we really need. So let's close that and save it. And actually, let's go back over here, because these things are the same color. So it's going to be very difficult to really see when it pops up. So let me select the template, and I'll select a slightly different color, a little bit lighter. And I will also set a border, and that will make it easier to see what we're doing. So let's save everything here. I'll just do save all. Let's go over to the interface viewer, and this is just a previous template that we were working on in one of the other videos. We were demonstrating the auto generation system, which lets you generate these nice user interfaces very easily. So let me open the one that we were just working on there, spot topics, pop-ups, base template. And now if we click this button here, we should get a pop-up, and we do. And this is our test message. Not the best looking pop-up ever, but you get the idea. How it looks is up to you. And so now you notice we can't do anything in the interface viewer. If I try to interact, nothing works, because it's a modal pop-up, as we were discussing before. So we just have to close that, and then we're back to business again. Right? So that's it. That's the basics of pop-ups. We'll do some others where we show some more advanced features, but you can do an awful lot just with that to create reusable pop-up templates that you can use across all kinds of different applications. So that's it, and we'll see you in the next video.